Good afternoon, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and this is my QAnon broadcast for Monday, July 22nd. Welcome to the broadcast. Those of you who are doing your own decodes at home, you can find Q posts on a number of different websites, including QAnon.pub, QMap.pub. If you have an Android device and you'd like to get notifications when Q is posting, you can get a couple of different apps in the Play Store. QMap is one of them. Q Alerts is another one. There are two versions of that. You can also get notifications on your iPhone if you install the Get Pushed app and then look for the QAnon notifications in the search window. My theme for this video is it a watch thread or is it Traitors One and All? It is actually both. I have two threads that I'm going to be covering today. Q's been kind of busy, and this is not an actual thread that involves new posts, the watch thread, but I did want to take some time to kind of explain Q's watch proofs, because a lot of people were disappointed when the watch proof drop did not come to fruition the way they thought it was going to on the 19th. So I'm going to walk everyone through how Q sets these up and what we might be looking for in the way of a fulfillment of the watch proof. So Q provides evidence, and I don't know if I'd call it proof, but it's evidence, that when is analyzed together with other data, suggests that he has access to information or intelligence that the average person does not. An example is how Q uses watch images. On January 5th of this year, Q posted a picture of a watch and a pen and asked if the president would be at Camp David CD tomorrow. That would be the 6th. Discussing issues of national security, matters of national security here. Clock is ticking, follow the watch. The president was at Camp David on the 6th, apparently discussing issues of national security. So Q posts a picture of the watch. And then this is a little closer look. You can see the time is 3:15, and I think the date is the 2nd. There's a 2 on there. You can see it behind the hand if you go zoom in. Okay. Then 2 months later, on March 2nd, Q posted another watch and a pen and asked why the mainstream media attacks him daily if he's just a conspiracy. All right, so here's that watch, and again, the date is the 2nd. This was posted on March 2nd, same date, and a pen. Time in the watch is 3:42, best we can tell. All right, so after Q posted those images, a lot of people made guesses about their relevance, but none of those guesses, to my knowledge, were correct. On March 15th, almost a couple of weeks later, President signed a veto of the bill that was passed by Congress that was attempted to halt the national emergency he had declared on the southern border. And this is a declaration here by the President.
Protection of the nation is my highest duty. Yesterday, Congress passed a dangerous resolution that, if signed into law, would put countless Americans in danger, very grave danger. The Democrat-sponsored resolution would terminate vital border security operations by revoking the national emergency issued last month. It is definitely a national emergency. Rarely have we had such a national emergency. Therefore, to defend the safety and security of all Americans, I will be signing and issuing a formal veto of this reckless resolution, and that's what it was.
Okay, so the president uses a pen to issue one of his only vetoes. I think the president has only done 2 vetoes in his entire time in office, to veto the congressional action that would have halted the national emergency. Attorney General William Barr happened to be in the room at that time.
Mr. President, your declaration of an emergency on the southern border was clearly authorized under the law and consistent with past precedent. As you said, the National Emergencies Act directly authorizes the president, gives broad discretionary authority to the president to identify and respond to emergent circumstances that require a decisive response. And the humanitarian and security crisis we have on the border right now is exactly the kind of emergency that presidents are permitted to address under the National Emergencies Act. As you alluded to yourself, in the past 40 years, there have been 59 emergencies declared. And many of these have dealt with political conditions in countries like Burundi, Sierra Leone, Belarus.
Okay, so you get the idea. Barr agreed with the president that his use of the veto was authorized. Now, the POTUS scheduled Twitter account on that day noted that the Attorney General, Barr, authorized the national emergency at 3:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just for people who are curious about that, I am aware that this account was not a verified account, and that account is actually not currently active. It has been taken down, and I don't know why. But moving along, so the POTUS scheduled Twitter account noted, Attorney General William Barr authorized a national emergency, 3:42 p.m. All right. Q then reposted the image of the pen with the watch that showed the time of 3:42 and said marker 1 complete, and then posted the image of the other watch and the pen showing 3:15 and said on March 15th 3:15. Right, so that's the fulfillment of that watch proof. Now, and Anon made a graphic here that shows watch number 1, 3:15 was the time on the watch and the date of the action. Watch number 2, 3:42, was the time that Barr authorized the emergency action by the president. So there's a question, how did Q know? Well, did Q, again, predict this in advance? Well, not exactly a prediction, but if you look back, you can look at the information and say maybe Q had some information that the rest of us didn't have access to. All right, Q responded to that and said, the real fun starts soon. Okay, so then on March 27th, so again, almost 2 weeks later, Q reposted that Anon's graphic, the watch proof, and asked if we'd like to play another watch proof game. And the Anons are like, heck yeah, let's do that. So Q then dropped another watch image, marker 1 set. All right, that is that image. And then, of course, this is a little close-up picture of the watch. It looks like maybe 4:49, 4:50. And the date is the 19th. Now, what's relevant about this? There's actually a couple of things that are relevant. The time is 4:49 or 4:50, depending on how you look at it. Date is the 19th. This is the only watch of the 4 recent ones posted that shows a date that is different from the date that the image was posted. All the other 3 watches that have been posted in the last 6 months or 7 months all have the date showing as the same day that Q posted them. This is the only one that's different. Also worth noting is the file name on this one. It is 2727 PNG. PNG is a file type. It's an image file like JPEG or PNG. But the file name 2727 I think is relevant. I always try to look at file names when Q posts pictures to see if there's something unique in the file name. Q then posted another watch, and the file name in this one is 2729 PNG. I think the 27 and 29 are going to have something to do with the fulfillment of this watch proof. Now, Q, this is the second one. Q said marker 2 set. Time is, it looks like 3:05, and it is on the 27th. The date in the watch is the 27th, same as the date posted. Okay, here's a close-up image. You can see it's a little bit blurry, but it is a 27 on the date. 3:05, 3:06. Probably looks to me like 3:05. Okay, so Q asked us to consider, after posting these images, consider the reflections. Reflections are important. And then Q wrote, Find the reflection inside the castle. Okay, well, what the heck is a castle? Last September, the president tweeted out this after he returned safely to the White House. Just returned to the White House from the great state of North Carolina and South Carolina, where incredible work is being done on the ongoing fight against Hurricane Florence. Tremendous talent and spirit. 2 minutes after the president posted this tweet, Q posted this, castle lock. Now, there have been other posts by Q and the president that lead us to believe that the castle is a reference to the White House. So Anon thought, okay, the castle, White House, maybe the Oval Office, dropped this on the board, and it is a series of images suggesting perhaps maybe where this watch was taken, picture was taken, and the reflections on the bezel of the watch. Now, Q did say, find the reflection inside the castle. Now, if you look at this watch, you can see there are reflections over here, reflections here, the reflections on the glass. On the bezel over here, there's some reflection on the band, right? So the Anon was basically taking the reflections and going, well, where might these be? So here's one possibility inside the Oval Office. And here is another one. And here is a third one. Right? These are just, spitballing, basically. Q responded, have you applied to an intel agency? So Q did not confirm any of the Anon's hunches, just, said, hey, you do have pretty good puzzle solving skills. Maybe you want to apply at an intel agency. All right. Q then also noted that the pictures we post are all originals. Think about what that means. If Q is able to post original photos taken inside the White House or the Oval Office, what does that mean? I'll let you think about that. All right, so 2 days ago, Q reposted one of those watches from March and said, worth remembering. All right, this is on the 18th. And this is when everyone was getting kind of excited about, oh, the 19th is coming, and one of the dates is the 19th. This watch has 19. I think this is marker 1. So people were thinking, oh, the 19th is tomorrow. We're going to get the fulfillment of the watch proof. And then the watch proof thing didn't happen. So people are wondering, oh, what's going on? What happened? Well, again, like I said, the original images here, the file name is 2727png. I think it has something to do with the 27th. And because a lot of people assumed and expected that this watch proof was going to be confirmed on the 19th, and it didn't happen, a lot of people were kind of disappointed, and some people were embarrassed because they made guesses about what it meant. I tell people all the time, there is no disappointment without expectation. And we all have a choice about our expectations, and sometimes our choice to expect one thing or another leads to disappointment. There's nothing wrong with making guesses to the answer to a puzzle, but there are different ways you can do it. You can guess privately or you can guess publicly. If you choose to guess publicly, it may have consequences. If you're wrong, people are going to criticize you. Now, if you're not prone to suffering disappointment, there's no harm in guessing and being wrong. And if you're not bothered by public criticism, there's no risk in making your guess a matter of public record. However, I have enough critics already. The way it is, I don't need more critics. So I've kind of tempered my guessing on these proofs. I don't know that it's all that helpful for me to make guesses and then end up being wrong, because most of the time I'm wrong. So I leave most of my guesses kind of private, although there are times when I will guess at something if Q says, hey, speculate, or if I have an idea of what I think is going on, I'll put out a guess. Although if you get into too much guessing, you can end up being wrong a lot, and that can be very discouraging. It can also it can not just discourage you, it can also discourage other people if you're doing it publicly. So what about this watch proof? I'm looking forward to the 27th. I'm not predicting that we're going to see the watch proof fulfilled on the 27th. I think it's possible. I don't know for sure if it's going to be. I don't have any guess as to what the reflection is going to turn out to be. I think that may be part of the watch proof, but I don't know. Maybe Q is just using that as something for people to look into, and maybe the watch proof fulfillment has nothing to do with the reflection. I really don't know what the watch proof is going to prove, but I think we'll find out soon. May not be soon, might be a while. I think Q just brought that up as a reminder to us that I think we're in a window where that watch proof might be fulfilled, and for us to just be thinking about it. All right, now I'm going to go to the more recent thread, which I started on the 21st, and my theme for that one is Traitors One and All. James Comey tweeted this out, and this was on the 21st. This week, an American patriot, Robert Mueller, takes center stage. He doesn't want attention, has principles, and follows them, and always tells the truth. What an opportunity for young people to be inspired. What a great opportunity for both parties in Congress to follow his example. Well, I don't think anyone is that excited about Mueller's coming testimony before Congress on Wednesday. But Comey, being the cheerleader that he is, he has to do that. So Q posted a link to Comey's tweet and wrote, if Attorney General Barr has access to all classified material, how does Mueller, who is in brackets, navigate? If Mueller, in brackets, provides false or misleading testimony, will Attorney General Barr be forced to declass all documentation to ensure full public awareness of the truth? If Mueller, in brackets, defers to the original report, but Dems and the fake news push a false narrative, knowing a majority of the public did not watch the actual hearing, will Attorney General Barr be forced to declass all documentation to ensure full public awareness of the truth? Be ready is in brackets Mueller, be ready is in brackets JC, James Comey, be ready in brackets Traitors One and All. Thank you for playing. FISA goes both ways. Q. All right, so calling it out. Anons responded, D-class if he does, D-class if he doesn't. Bring on the D-class. This Anon said, I love this line. I can only imagine the treason trove that has been gathered. All the FISA education you've given us that happened to POTUS has been mirrored and used against the actual traitors who conspired. And Q has been telling us a number of times in the last 4 or 5 months, FISA goes both ways. A lot of these people have FISA warrants against them, and the president is surveilling them legally. Anon said, take as long as you need. We are here for you on both boards. This Anon said, thanks for stepping in, boss. The true Anons are grateful. The wicked are begging for their chains early. How I wish we could oblige them in the foulness of time. And the Anons are having a little bit of fun with some memes. I like this one. When the TikTok stops, the Moab drops. Okay, Q previously had posted on June 27th, be ready. Q. This is on Patriots Fight. When you see a post with a 3-digit number, just think that's on the Patriots Fight board. There aren't a whole lot of posts on there, but most of the posts there are the placeholders. So I think Q's use of be ready in brackets is both a warning to the bad guys, Mueller and Comey, and Clapper and Brennan and Sally Yates and everyone else. But I think it's also a warning to us that we're going to be seeing the placeholders populated, because when we get D-class, when we get the Inspector General report and all that comes out, then we'll have those placeholder posts on Patriots Fight. They will start to populate. And Q said that's going to happen in August. And it is July 22nd, so we're getting close. All right, so I need to say this. There are many good people, and I follow a lot of them on Twitter, and I have friends who believe that Robert Mueller is secretly working with the president. One line of reasoning to support that argument is the fact that the appointment of Mueller as special counsel took the investigation of Donald Trump away from Andrew McCabe. That is a valid observation. And some people say, therefore, they believe that Mueller is in some way working with Trump or alongside of Trump. They also say that Mueller came up with nothing against Trump. Rather than the deep state indicting or impeaching him, they ended up clearing his name. Now, Q has at various times put out information suggesting perhaps that Mueller is working with Trump. This was October 31st, 2017. Why did Mueller meet with POTUS one day prior to the FBI announcement if Mueller could not be offered the director position of the FBI due to his previous term limits rule? Suggestion there that Mueller and Trump met for a reason that hasn't been disclosed. In this drop from April 4th, 2018, Q wrote Carter Page was a plant, Manafort was a plant, trace background open source, why is Mueller going after inside plants? Again, suggesting maybe Mueller was working with Trump. Now, April 27th, Q wrote about Mueller, is he an enemy of the president? Is he a slave? Is he working with the president? Mueller and Uranium One, Mueller and whatever else is there. Confused, is a special counsel targeting who? Special counsel on the team, special counsel off the team. Questions reveal answers. Time will tell. Q. So Q has been intentionally providing information about Mueller that is conflicting. Sometimes saying that Mueller is a tool of the deep state, sometimes suggesting Mueller may be working with Trump. All right, we're getting two different stories. Now, that same day, Q posted this. Why are we here? Public forum. The world is watching. Sharing of intel to bad actors. What's the purpose? It is to provide disinformation to the bad actors. Not confirming special counsel is on the team. Question everything. Timing is important. Planned. Q. Okay. So, a lot of people talk about disinformation. They get frustrated and angry because there is so much disinformation that is provided by Q. There's actually, I suspect, a lot more disinformation that Q has provided than most people realize. If you look into game theory, study it, you'll come away with an appreciation, I think, of how much disinformation Q has actually provided and why. So the good thing about the disinformation that Q provides is if we believe the disinformation that Q puts out, it's not going to harm us. It's frustrating. It's a little irritating, but it isn't going to harm us. It'll only harm the enemies of the president if they believe it and they take action upon it. If we believe it, it's not going to harm us. It can harm them, though. All right. In November of 2018, Q changed his tune about Mueller. He wrote this: Mueller will face charges regarding Uranium One. He's working to save himself. Q. So Mueller was head of the FBI for, I think, 11 or 12 years under Obama and actually before Obama, under Bush Jr. Mueller, as head of the FBI, was involved in some very sketchy capers, including he was FBI director during Fast and Furious and during Benghazi and a lot of other things. So Q has indicated recently that Mueller is actually going to face charges for his crimes in the past. And ever since then, really this whole year, every time Q mentions Mueller, he's in a kill box. He's in brackets. Mueller is a blockade. Mueller is being used by the deep state to block what Trump is doing. Q has not, in the last 8 months, suggested at all that Mueller might be working with Trump. It's all been pretty much Mueller is a deep state tool. All right. So Mueller, when I just look at this objectively, Mueller went far outside the typical actions of a special counsel. Although it is not a prosecutor's job to exonerate the subject of an investigation, Mueller in his report said he could not exonerate the president of obstruction of justice. Now, if you've been listening to the news or if you listen to experts, they'll tell you that it is not the job of a prosecutor to exonerate anyone. So why did Mueller put that in there? Well, the second part of Mueller's report outlined the evidence his team considered regarding the obstruction of justice charge. And I believe William Barr was hired as Attorney General partly because of his interpretation of the obstruction statute. Mueller's team was trying to build a case for obstruction of justice by Trump using a flawed interpretation of the obstruction statute. Barr seems to have brought an end to Mueller's investigation by imposing a more accepted traditional view of the obstruction statute on Mueller's team, ending their investigation. Not being satisfied with Barr's interpretation of the obstruction statute and having his investigation come to an end, I believe Mueller put the evidence that he felt supported the obstruction charge in part 2 of his report, released it, made it public so Congress could see it, hoping that they would run with it. After he submitted his report, if Mueller were a normal special counsel, he would have left the scene, gone back to fishing, private life. But he is not an average special counsel. He had to make a public address, which was kind of a pointless thing. And now he's going to be appearing before Congress to continue to stir up the anti-Trump sentiment, to continue keeping this Russia narrative on the front burner. And for those reasons, I believe Mueller is actually working with the deep state. I do not believe Mueller is a white hat. I don't think he's a gray hat. I think he's a black hat, and I think he will eventually be charged with his, at least for his involvement in Uranium One. All right. Moving along, Maggie Haberman posted this tweet. Maggie is a reporter for the New York Times. It is this tweet. He wasn't seeking to kill a mob boss. He was trying to help Trump, his lawyer says. It is an article about Anthony Comello, who is a murder suspect for shooting a mob boss. And in this article, it says, QAnon, a baseless conspiracy theory that originated on the internet messaging boards, played a key role in Mr. Comello's descent into mental instability, his lawyer said, claiming, among other things, that America is controlled by the deep state. Prominent Democrat politicians are pedophiles. JFK Jr. Is secretly alive. Actually, Q never claimed that JFK Jr. is alive. And this is how the New York Times and the mainstream media twists the message that Q is actually putting out, saying things that Q never said. Now, Q has indicated that politicians some of them are involved in pedophilia, and we're going to find out with Jeffrey Epstein's case exactly who and how many of them are. But the JFK Jr. thing is complete distraction. Q never suggested JFK Jr. was alive. All right, moving along. So Q posted a link to Maggie Haberman's tweet and said every single dirty tactic being deployed to stop the growth of this movement. Ask yourself a very simple question. Why? Why are the biggest media companies in the world attacking Q on a daily basis if Q is a pointless internet conspiracy? Okay, this morning Q posted a link to a Fox News article and advised us, and probably the president's enemies, to be ready, in brackets, Q. All right, that article is, it's a Fox News article, and it basically takes the president's view that the Mueller testimony before Congress this week is going to backfire. I found it really interesting that Brooke, what is her name? I forget her name. She wrote the article. She put Mueller's name in brackets in the kill box. That's what you do in writing when you are using a quote and the person's name isn't in the quote. You put it in brackets. But it was funny that she put Mueller in brackets because Mueller is definitely in brackets now. All right. So the president believes Mueller's testimony is going to backfire. Q linked to that article and said, be ready. All right. Anons have the popcorn ready. And then Q linked to a tweet by John Henry. This is the tweet. He said, well, never seen this before. A stealth bomber from Whiteman Air Force Base flying over the National Mall. That was during the 4th of July message by the president where a B-2 bomber flew over the Capitol. And here's a flyover. All right, what does that have to do with anything? Well, a lot of us believe that, let's see, I have to find my, oh, wait a minute, I gotta go back here. Hang on a sec. All right, got back to my thread. So here's the thread. A lot of us believe that Bill Barr is the B-2 bomber. Q had posted this on July 10th, stealth bomber, date of first flight, date of Mueller's testimony. Mueller's original scheduled date to testify was the 17th, happened to be the 30th anniversary of the first flight of the stealth bomber. Q has been suggesting that I think Bill Barr is the stealth bomber. And Barr is going to be bombing the deep state pretty soon. All right. And Anon posted this picture. It is a tweet. It has to do with a story by Bloomberg about a classified army operation involving helicopters. And the Anon said, what is this? Oh, by the way, these are Apache helicopters, and the helicopters mentioned in the article are Blackhawks, if anyone's interested in that. All right, so the article is kind of interesting. It's a short article. The Army accidentally let slip the fact that it is conducting classified operations around the D.C. Area. The classified mission involves the use of Black Hawk helicopters. And what I found very interesting is, it says soldiers from Assault Helicopter Company and aviation maintenance units will be supporting the mission with 10 UH-60, those are Black Hawk helicopters, and the maintenance capabilities for 4 months, according to the document referring to the Black Hawks. The money will also pay for a specialized sensitive compartmented information facility at Davidson Army Airfield at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, just outside of Washington. All right, so we have the Army in a classified mission involving 10 helicopters for 4 months, and they're going to install a skiff at the airfield. Now, what the heck is going on there? Well, right after this, Q posted Ezra Cohen Watnick. All right. So if you're new to the Q phenomenon, Ezra Cohen Watnick is this mysterious cat who Q will bring up every once in a while. Very few people know anything about Ezra Cohen Watnick, other than he did serve for a while on the National Security Council under President Trump. This is one of the only known images of him on the internet. This was taken years ago, I think, when he was in either high school or college. Mysterious guy. This is an article from The Atlantic. It's kind of a hit piece on the Trump administration, but it does provide some good background information if you want to get some info on Ezra Cohen Watnick. It's pretty long, pretty in-depth. The man McMaster couldn't fire. H.R. McMaster, deep state plant inside Trump's National Security Council, he was actually Trump's national security advisor before he was removed. He tried to fire Ezra Cohen Watnick and was not able to, at least initially. One of the things brought up in that article is the fact that it was Ezra Cohen Watnick who got information to Devin Nunes inside of a skiff, where he looked at some classified documents showing that Susan Rice was unmasking the names of people in the Trump campaign. And that was kind of where that all started. Ezra Cohen Watnick actually went into a skiff and said, I believe it was the Eisenhower building in D.C., got information there, gave it to Devin Nunes, showed him that people were being unmasked. And that story was originally broken by the New York Times, by the way. They have a lot of information on that. If you're interested, you can check out this article. 2 White House officials helped give Nunes intelligence reports. Mainstream media really didn't do themselves a very good service on these stories. They made it look as if everything the Obama administration had done was above board and legitimate, and everything that Nunes and the Trump people were doing was borderline treasonous. Newsweek came in with a story to go along with that, talking about how Ezra Cohen Watnick gave information to Devin Nunes involving the surveillance by the Obama team. And again, they said, Trump made baseless claims that Obama spied on him. Well, we know now that Obama did spy on Trump and his transition team. Okay. I'm going to transition here for just a little bit. So people tend to look at the news, and when they see no arrests being made, they tend to assume nothing is happening. Q has reminded us often that the arrest cannot be made and prosecution can't be done because we're not going to get convictions until corruption is first removed from the legal system, the FBI, Department of Justice, and courts. On November 9th, 2018, Q posted this: how can arrests occur prior to removing the corruption from the FBI and DOJ? How can arrests occur to safely securing a majority in the sorry, let me try that again. How can arrests occur prior to safely securing a majority in the Supreme Court? Constitution, rule of law. What is the role of the Senate? Q put in there role of Bob Goodlatte, role of Gowdy, role of Sessions. Goodlatte, Gowdy, and Sessions all resigned. Why? They have resigned for reasons we don't know yet. Some of us don't know yet. All right. Q then goes on. Who was assigned directly to Sessions by POTUS? What was a mandate charge to Ezra Cohen Watnick? And then we have in brackets here, Defense Intelligence Agency. Ezra Cohen Watnick came up in the Defense Intelligence Agency. He was a protege of General Flynn. He was actually, they used to mock people who followed Flynn, called them Flintstones. Cohen Watnick was made National Security Advisor to Jeff Sessions. He is now National Security Advisor to William Barr. He is responsible for giving Barr counterintelligence and counterterrorism information and briefings. Who briefed Nunes on classified intelligence regarding Hussein's spy campaign versus POTUS? That was Ezra Cohen Watnick. Who briefed Goodlatte and Gowdy on the classified intelligence regarding FBI and DOJ? I believe that was also Ezra Cohen Watnick. World is watching, world is witnessing the true identity of the D Party war. So Ezra Cohen Watnick, through these drops, Q has given us some information about what Ezra Cohen Watnick has been doing. Over the last couple of years, he has been helping Trump's people get information that can help them. And look, this war against corruption is primarily an intelligence war. The winner is the one who has the best intelligence and who uses it most effectively against their opponent. No one has better intelligence than the NSA, and Trump is their commander-in-chief. So Trump has the edge on intelligence. It is the unseen and unheard ones who are the most dangerous in the intelligence war. Not the people on TV, not the people on talk shows, not the people in Congress. It is people behind keyboards. It is people, intelligence operators like Ezra Cohen Watnick. They are the most dangerous people. And indictments are piling up in the offices of people who aren't on talk shows. People like John Huber. People who, so we are told, are doing nothing. People whose teams don't leak information. A lot of political pundits think nothing is happening in the Huber office because nothing is leaked. There is no news coming out. No one's talking. There's no reports. Therefore, nothing must be happening. Well, I guarantee you something is happening. But it's all behind the scenes. It's an intelligence war. People like Matt Whitaker. Some of the most effective people in this war play what looks like an insignificant role. Their actual contributions may never be fully disclosed, but I think they're playing a huge role. All right, Ezra Cohen Watnick has been criticized for his lack of time in the field. He was criticized for being on the National Security Council because he had a pretty low rank in the DIA and didn't have a lot of time in. But no one ever questioned his patriotism or his loyalty to the president. And in this game with the deep state, where so many people have proven to be disloyal to Trump, loyalty is worth its weight in gold. And Ezra Cohen Watnick is in his position because he is highly trusted by Trump's people. And that's why he was appointed to be National Security Advisor for the Attorney General. All right. Ezra Cohen Watnick is a protege of General Flynn. As I said, he is currently serving as Barr's advisor on counterintelligence and counterterrorism. He is one of the least visible, but one of the most important players on the board. And I'm going to assume that because Q followed the post about the helicopters and the skiff and the classified military operation in and around D.C. with the Ezra Cohen Watnick post, that they're connected. I'm guessing Ezra Cohen Watnick is probably either giving briefings to generals or people in the military, or that he is giving briefings to Attorney General Barr based on military intelligence, or they're coordinating somehow. That skiff is on that base for a reason. I'm guessing Ezra Cohen Watnick is going to be spending some time in that skiff. And there's something going on. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a plan to round up corrupt people in Washington using the military. I don't know. There is something going on, and Q is giving us the get ready, the be alert warning. And if I were a corrupt politician in D.C. and I knew that Trump was working with the military, I knew that Barr was investigating corrupt people, if I knew the Army had a classified operation going on near D.C. involving 10 Black Hawk helicopters and a skiff, and Ezra Cohen Watnick was involved, I would be a little freaked out. All right. This is just for your entertainment. It just happens today. The NSA posted this. NSA's latest tweet, it's about the Burr conspiracy, in which a treasonous cabal of politicians and Army officers, led by Aaron Burr, who was a former vice president, tried to create their own nation inside of the U.S. All right, so NSA tweeted that out. And then this is more information on the Burr conspiracy. Thomas Jefferson, who was the president, had the cabal's leader, former Vice President Aaron Burr, arrested and indicted for treason, even though he didn't have a whole lot of evidence, and Burr was eventually let go. All right. Q posted a link to a tweet by Kevin Shipp. Shipp is a former CIA career employee turned whistleblower. Q wrote, "Dark to light, hunters become the hunted. This is not another 4-year election, Q." And Kevin Shipp's tweet is about pedophilia, child trafficking, Satan worship, bloodletting of children in plain view. And then he has a quote from the Bible. "But I say to you, the rest who are in Thyatira, who do not hold this teaching, who have not known the deep things of Satan, as they call them, I place no other burden on you." Revelation 2:24. So we have these pictures of this sick, disgusting things that the elites do in public. And I need to go back to my thread. All right. So we got the images there, and Q then posted a link to a tweet by "I'm a Texas Trump girl." Where we go one, we go all, we the people, Q. And that tweet is a video of a woman down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, wearing a Q t-shirt. All right, Q is everywhere. And then we've got, let's see, this is an article from Paul Sperry. It's a very long article. If you're interested in digging into this, you might check it out. Comey's under DOJ scrutiny for leading probe. I think it says, well, hang on, let me open this in another link here. Here's the actual article. It's long, but it's very good. Justice Department watchdog has evidence that Comey probed Trump on the sly. That's the title of the article. It is on Real Clear Investigations, which is a website that Sperry does reports on. And I'll just give you some of the highlights of the story. Sources have told Sperry that Inspector General Horowitz has found high-level FBI communications revealing that Comey had Donald Trump under investigation while telling him in private that he was not under investigation. So Comey basically was lying to Trump, had him under investigation, had his team under investigation, and was telling Trump that they weren't under investigation. All right. So that's one part of the story. Now, there's other things that are kind of interesting. Sperry notes that, and this is what he's been told by these sources, that although the Horowitz report is going to focus mainly on allegations of FISA abuse, he has been told it's also going to examine whether Comey misled Trump and whether he leaked classified information to the media. Q actually has placeholders on the Patriots Fight Board that have to do with leaks to the media and media collusion with the FBI. So we know that that's coming. But Sperry here is giving us some confirmation of what's probably going to be in the Inspector General report. Apparently, Comey even created a new position for one of his agents that allowed that agent to work inside the White House in the National Security Council and remain on staff at the FBI, which is a violation of the no contact rule that the DOJ and FBI have with regard to the White House. This guy's name was Anthony Ferrante. He was working inside the White House and reporting back to the FBI, basically spying on the White House from a position on the National Security Council. This crazy stuff that Comey was doing. That agent, Anthony Ferrante, left the White House and the FBI shortly after Comey was fired. He is, I think, currently working managing director at Global Head of Cybersecurity at FTI Consulting. And he is also a CNN contributor, law enforcement analyst for CNN. Big shock. All right. After he left the White House, Ferrante worked briefly at BuzzFeed, another big shock, before he went to the cybersecurity firm. He was replaced by Jordan Ray Kelly in the White House on the National Security Council. This is interesting. It says that Jordan Ray Kelly worked closely with Mueller when he was at the FBI. She replaced Ferrante upon his White House exit, although she continued signing security logs for him, allowing him to enter the White House as a visitor while he was working for BuzzFeed. These people are just corrupt as can be. Kelly left the White House last year and joined Ferrante at his consulting firm. All right. And we're getting down to something that's relevant to Q here in just a second. All right. One of Ferrante's pals at the National Security Council was Tashina Gauhar. All right, in this report, working with Comey liaison Ferrante at the National Security Council in early 2017 was another Obama holdover, Tashina Gauhar, who remains a top national security advisor at the Justice Department. Now, I don't have any way to verify what Tash Gauhar is doing at DOJ. This is Sperry reporting on this, and this could be an assumption, or maybe he was told us, I don't know. But Tash Gauhar assisted Sally Yates. She assisted Rod Rosenstein. She took notes during meetings with White House lawyers, was heavily involved in these activities. Now, Q has given us a lot of updates over the last couple of years. And that includes a list of employees fired or removed from the DOJ and the FBI. In the update from February of this year, we were asked to track and follow. All right, these people were all fired. James Comey, McCabe, Rubicki, Baker, Priestap, Strzok, Page, Mike Cortan, Josh Campbell, et cetera, et cetera. All right. And these people down here on the bottom on this list were still working FBI DOJ. Kevin Kleinsmith, Tash Gauhar, Sally Moyer, Jason Herring. Q said track and follow. So one of the reasons why I brought this up is, this is in the article, is Q has been asking us to track Tash Gauhar. She's one of those people, and it seems like she's still working at DOJ. Not for long. This was an October 2018 post by Q, statement of release, general statement. We understand that there is extreme fatigue and frustration regarding the wheels of justice, which turn slowly. Exclude emotion and personal desire. Instead, use logic and critical thinking based on situational awareness. Undo a lifetime of evil and corruption infestation in the span of less than 2 years with a corrupt FBI and DOJ in place. Process and planning, law and order, military operation. How can you make arrests outside the military, non-military, prior to first fully cleaning out corrupt elements at the top of those departments, FBI, DOJ, that oversee the investigation and prosecution in the U.S., if they themselves are the very ones involved, engaged in illegal, treasonous acts? Again, we've got that list. Comey, McCabe, Rebecca Baker, etc., all fired. At the bottom of that list, in the batter's box, Mike Steinbach, John Glackalone, Randy Coleman, Trish Anderson, Kevin Kleinsmith, Tash Gauhar, Sally Moyer. Some of these have been removed since then. The updated list had Kleinsmith, Gauhar, Moyer, and I think Trish Anderson may have been on there. All right. How do you ensure those prosecuted non-military would receive impartial judgment based on the rule of law? Think federal judge rulings, obstruction, POTUS granted constitutional authority. How do you ensure the appeals to the U.S. Supreme Court are evaluated impartially based on the rule of law? Think Justice Kavanaugh, 5-4, military law versus criminal law. So one of the reasons why these people are not being prosecuted yet is their prosecution is going to be challenged in the Supreme Court. Q has placeholders on Patriots Fight for those challenges. That is regarding military prosecution versus civilian prosecution. And so this is it's a very involved process, but we need to just hang in there and, dare I say, trust the plan. All right, one more thing I wanted to bring up, and this is going to be the last issue. Department of Justice this afternoon issued a letter to Robert Mueller reminding him that any testimony he provides to Congress on Wednesday must remain within the boundaries of his public report. That is all I have for you. I do not believe Q has posted any more as of this recording. I love you all. Thank you for sharing. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might want to do that. Get notifications when I have a new Q video on YouTube or on my podcast. Like I said, we just need to hang in there and be patient. It's all coming down. I think we're going to see the Horowitz report soon. We'll see D-Class soon. A lot more information coming out. Keep Denise and I in prayer. Keep the president in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. I will catch you on the next broadcast.